this lesson is on solving equations. Even though these are one-step equations, there's actually 3 steps that I want you to follow. We're going to do a lot of equations in 7th grade, and understanding how to solve equations is very important for not only pre-algebra, but then going into algebra. And being successful in algebra is going to be largely based on understanding how equations work. So there's a couple of steps, and I do require that you do this. It's not an optional thing. I want you to do all of these steps, and I'm going to expect you to do those steps, and we'll count off for it if you don't do it on a quiz or a test. First, I want you to box the variable. And the reason I have you do that is because it kind of helps your eye pick out where you're solving and what side you're solving on. And then you draw a line down the equal sign. After you've drawn a line down the equal sign, that helps you to understand that what you do to one side, you do to the other. Then you need to ask yourself what operation is happening to my number. Hopefully, we're going to do this enough that it's kind of going to become second nature as far as what is going to be happening. And then once you figure out what you're doing, you're going to do the opposite. So if it's adding, you're going to do subtracting. If it's multiplying, you're going to do dividing, and then vice versa. So let's take a look at examples here, 1 through 4. So start off by boxing your variable and drawing your line. Because this is with my variable and I'm going to do the opposite, I'm going to add 9 and cancel and add 9. So then I do the math and I get 13. What I mean by checking your answer is you're going back to your original equation. So I'm going to do 13 instead of x minus 9. Well, 13 minus 9 is 4, which is what they told us, so I'm just going to write yes. So let me know that you went through that process. Question number 2 is a little bit trickier because you have this there. You could switch this around if you wanted to, but you don't just switch around the positive sign or plus sign. You'd have to write y minus 3. Now that kind of helps you understand, since it's minus 3 or negative 3, remember that's kind of interchangeable, I'm going to do plus 3. And that cancels, because if you have negative 3 and you add 3 to it, you end up with 0, which is the whole idea of canceling out. What I do to one side, I have to do the other, so I get y is equal to 13. Then I go through my, back to my original equation, and I check. So it's negative 3 plus y, which is 13. Negative 3 plus 13 is 10, which is I wanted. And so that's my answer. Number 3, when you have a variable and a number next to each other, you're going to multiply. So since that is multiplication, the opposite is going to be division. So divide by 3. And remember, we're going to use a fraction bar. Don't use the little division symbol, because some answers actually may come out as fractions. So then we divide by 3. Since we're dividing and we have a negative number, I'm going to use my sleeping dog. So I have a negative and a positive, so it's going to come out to be negative 9. To check my work, I'm going to do 3 times negative 9. Once again, I need to use my sleeping dog. So positive 3, negative 9, come up with negative 27, which is what I wanted. Number 4. Even though this is a fraction, fraction is the same thing as division. So I'm going to box my variable, draw the line. This is t divided by 5. So the opposite is multiplying by 5. And then I multiply by 5 on the other side. So I need to go through there and do my math. And I get t is equal to 75. Then I'm going to check. And just don't write this unless you actually know that 75 divided by 5 is 15. I would go off to the side and actually check your work. So I end up with 15, so yes. All right, that's one-step equations with integers. What I would like you to do is pause the video, go through the remaining U tries, and answer the questions, and then come back with me and check. Number 1, you should come up with 23. Number 2 is negative 15. Number 3 was negative 8. And number 4 was negative 36.